This is task 1B. Having designed the links for the website, you're now being asked to create an external CSS file. That's a cascading style sheet, and show evidence of how it meets the requirements. Now, a cascading style sheet is basically an instruction to the web pages of how the styles should look and also the layout. So you're going to be setting that up, and whatever you set up on that style sheet will be how the whole website looks and feels. So before we do anything, we actually need to create an external style sheet that we can use, and then we can look at the different styles that need to go within that sheet. To do that, I'm going to use a piece of software called Composer, which you can see here, and you can actually see I've already created a site called Sheep Square. We're going to create another one in a moment. Now, there's a discussion in the similar but different task instructions over the types of software that are available, and so you don't have to use Composer, but it's the principles of this that will matter. This is freeware, so you can get it at home easily, and you can also have it installed at school. If you've got Dreamweaver at school, you may choose to use that because this task has probably been written with Dreamweaver in mind. So the first thing we need to do is create a new site. Now, this isn't the most intuitive of piece of software, because what we have to do is we go to the site manager and click edit sites. Now here you would think that you create new site, click on new site there, but you don't. You actually have to give your site a name first of all. So I'm going to call it Sheep Square Vid, so it's distinguished from the other one. And then we need to select a directory where it's going to be stored. Now I'm just going to pause for a moment because I need to navigate through this folder structure. So this is the folder that I've created, and I did that by navigating through, click on Make New Folder, and now we'll click on OK. So you can see that is there. Here's the odd bit now. We now have to go back over to the left hand side and click on New Site, and it will now create a new site called Sheep Square Vid, and that is now in our list. Now, in this software, in order to create the external cascading style sheet, you first of all need to have at least one web page. So I'm going to save this web page, and we'll just call it Sheep Square for now, and we'll click on OK. And then we need to give it a name, and again I've got to navigate through, so I'll just pause for. So I've navigated through to find Sheep Square Vid as a folder, and I'm going to save this as index.html because that is the standard that you should use for a home page, and this will eventually become the home page. Now what we can do is actually create the style sheet that we're going to use. So we're going to go to our Cascading Style Sheets button, and that will now give us this window here. Next thing we're going to do is say that we're going to use an internal style sheet, and although we're doing an external one, but if we click on the drop down arrow, we can say that we're going to do a linked style sheet. Okay, so it's still saying internal, but it's actually going to be linked. Now we can click on create style sheet, and it will create one for us. Go back to internal style sheet. Okay, and now we get this option to export the style sheet and switch to an exported version, which is going to be our external one, and this is where we get to give it a name. So a sensible name here would be sheepsquare.css. So I'll click on save, and I'll click on OK. Have a look underneath here, and you can see we've now got two files, index and Sheep Square, and they are linked together. So the next tutorial is going to take you through actually creating the styles within that style sheet.